Thanks for joining me, guys. I'm the Liberal Gun Guy. This is the Left and Loaded YouTube channel, and today we are going to do a quick video comparing two popular single-stack 9mm handguns designed for concealed carry. Not the two most popular, but two popular models, one that I happen to love, the other not so much. And then I will bring out one more that I think is the most popular, according to sales in the United States, the most popular single-stack 9mm concealed carry handgun. So in front of me here, I have two very nice single-stack 9mm. They're similar in a lot of ways, and there are some very significant differences between the two of them as well. I have the Glock 43, that is this guy right here on the right. Single stack 9mm holds 6+1. This one has the extended little pinky base plate here on the magazine. It does also come with a flush base plate. This little pinky base plate, however, does not give you additional round capacity. Real quick, safety check. We're going to drop the magazine. Magazine is empty. We're going to check to make sure that the gun is clear. We'll do the same thing with this little guy over here. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I'm sure that there's some eagle-eyed viewers that will already know exactly what this gun is. Come on, it's not all that uncommon, to be honest with you. And it should be more common. If I had it my way, this would be the most popular single-stack 9 on the market today. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, Glock 43, and, because you already saw it in the title of the video, the Walther CCP in 9mm. This just happens to be my personal carry gun in OD green. Very nice. Couple quick things. I'm just going to give you the basic rundown. I'm not going to get into the intricate details about these two guns. You can find those intricate detail review videos all over the internet. But what I didn't see a lot of was videos comparing these two guns against each other. And that's what I kind of wish would have existed before I picked up my Walther CCP. I was really interested in the gun, and I'll tell you why, but I didn't have a great comparison video. There were videos comparing it against the PPS, lots of those, but that's also a Walther gun. So I wanted to see a very popular concealed carry gun in the Glock 43, which I was familiar with, had shot a bunch, comparing it to this Walther CCP. So, Glock 43, single stack, 9mm, 6+1 in the chamber. Walther CCP, single stack 9mm, 8+1 in the chamber. So we already have two additional rounds in the CCP, and as you can see here, just kind of right next to each other on this little mat, they are not hugely different in size, guys. I know there's been a lot of kind of hate and shade thrown at the Glock 43 for being as big as it is, because it's not quite as small as the Glock 42 in 380, but it is not all that much smaller than this here Walther CCP that holds 8+1. Where it counts for a lot of people carrying concealed carry 9mm is the hardest part to conceal is the grip. And I will give the grip length here by a large margin to the 43. Glock 43, if it had that base plate, that flat base plate in it, you could see even more dramatically how much taller the CCP really is. Whew. quite a bit taller. So Glock 43 definitely wins in the easier to conceal the grip of the gun category. Now we'll talk a little bit of just personal opinion, and then I'll give you some of the specs. I do not like shooting the Glock 43. I do not like shooting Glocks. Anybody that knows me or has gone shooting with me, or can't say longtime viewers of this channel because I've never really talked about it before on this channel, but this will not be the first time nor the last time that I mention that I don't like shooting Glocks. The way that the Glock fits in my hand, it hits me right here on this kind of, well, I guess on most people's hands, this is a pretty meaty part of the hand. On my hand, I don't know, it's kind of bony. And the little hump on the back of the Glock right here hits me right in this bony part of my thumb. And so it kicks back even with a light caliber like 9mm in a smaller frame, or even in the really big Glock 34, it's uncomfortable for me. At first I thought I was just a huge 9mm recoil sissy, and maybe I am, but it is the shape of this grip that bothers me. I shot a Glock that had the little hump shaved down, and it didn't bother me as much. So will I own Glocks in the future? Sure, why not? I own a Glock 42. I carry it all the time. I really like that gun, but with that lighter 380 round, it doesn't hurt my hand as much when I shoot it. Would it matter in a self-defense situation if it hurt your hand a little bit? Probably not. Is the Glock 43 incredibly reliable? Absolutely. Is it a bad gun? Not at all. Is it my concealed carry choice? No. Why do I choose to carry and conceal the Walther CCP? Well, I'll tell you a couple of points right off the bat. This grip is so comfortable, it is almost as though Walther took a piece of clay, let me reach my hand around that grip, put my 3 fingers around it, squeeze it a little bit to make some shape here in the grip, and then turned it into the grip of this gun. And I know I am not alone. You can read online. People consider this the most comfortable gun to hold, maybe in the world. The HK VP9 is a close second, but this CCP, it really does feel like it was meant for my hand, which then helps me to control the gun more and helps me to be more accurate with the gun. And anybody that's been shooting guns knows that a comfortable gun, you're going to shoot it more, you're going to practice more. So Walther definitely wins in the ergonomics category. Now, reliability. I have found both of these guns to be 100% reliable. I'm going to show you some clips from the range here in just a moment, and I'll try to add the part where I noticed that the Walther wasn't locking back on the last round, and then I realized that that was my fault. I was holding the gun, my thumb was getting in the way of the slide lock here, and then all of a sudden, last round, slide would close, and I'm like, what the heck? So I thought maybe it was the magazine, so I tried the other magazine, and realized, nope, it's just me. It was the way I was holding the gun. I adjusted that thumb just a little bit enough, and boom, locking back every time. The differences between these two guns, personally, are extraordinary. I find the Walther to be much easier to hold, grip, shoot. It's got lighter recoil. It's got better sights. And it has a better trigger. All right, I know what people are going to say. There are videos all over the internet talking about how awful the trigger is in this gun. I disagree. Those people maybe had guns that had not been properly cleaned, even getting it straight from the factory. If there's little, bits of machining or whatever that might have been left over inside of the gun, and it gets right into this little area on the inside where the trigger bar is and how that trigger mechanism works on the inside of the gun, you might feel a little bit of a grittiness. But as soon as you clean it out, give it a little bit of lube, that grittiness completely goes away, and this has a nice trigger. Doesn't have the best reset in the world, but this is a concealed carry gun. This is not a take it to the range every weekend and shoot 150 rounds through it kind of gun. Although I do that because I really like shooting this gun. The Glock 43, it is a Glock. You have the little dingus in the trigger. You have your little trigger safety dingus right here. And listen to that. Can you hear that? That is the texture on that polymer triggered safety, the dingus. And it is uncomfortable on all of my Glock pistols. And when I shoot it, it actually starts to get really uncomfortable on the tip of my finger. And when the gun recoils, it naturally moves a little bit. The gun, I mean, and your finger as well, because you're pulling the trigger. And I noticed that after even just a couple of magazines, the tip of my finger starts to get sore. Again, call me a sissy. I don't care. I don't like shooting Glocks. So, trigger on the Glock and the trigger on the CCP are almost identical. Both have a 5.5 pound trigger, which I feel is perfectly suitable for concealed carry. Yes, the Glock has this trigger safety, which I think makes it a lot more uncomfortable to shoot. But some people like that extra added layer of safety that they get, since the Glock does not have a manual safety. And the CCP does a slimline frame-mounted manual safety, safe, fire, and very easy to actuate. If you are just getting a grip on the gun quickly, I can come down quickly with my thumb and be ready to shoot. Both magazine releases work great. They pop out. They're very, they're nice and stiff, but not too stiff. I mean, I do like the 4th gen Glock magazine release. But those polymer magazines, they kind of pop out a little, but you got to give them a pull before they'll come all the way out. On the Walther magazine, pew, comes right out like a rocket. So, Picatinny rail on the Walther here. If you want to mount an accessory, a light, laser, something like that, makes it easy. And a textured trigger guard in the front here for old school shooters that might, on these smaller guns, like to get a finger around the front. So, Glock, similar, a squared off front here on the trigger guard, and a little bit of texture for old school shooters like me, who like to reach that finger around to the front. I don't know why I do that. It's just kind of how I was taught to handle these smaller guns. So, couple of quick things. The Glock does take a little bit of strength to rack the slide. It's really no different than what you would expect from a Glock. Those serrations work real nicely to do that, and it actuates just fine. The CCP, its claim to fame is how easy it is to actuate the slide, to rack the slide, to pull the slide back. You can literally do it with very little force. So for people that have weaker hands, for people that might struggle racking the slide on, some of these really small concealed carry guns have really tight recoil springs, which make them difficult to rack the slide. CCP does not suffer that, and it happens to be really easy to rack the slide. My 9-year-old son, who can rack the slide on pretty much any pistol that I've ever had him handle, can rack the slide really easily on the CCP. My slightly older son, who's kind of a skinny little turd, who has trouble racking the slide on most pistols, he just doesn't have the hand strength yet, he can rack the slide on this pistol pretty easily. Same with my mother-in-law, who has arthritis in her fingers without any trouble at all. So that is definitely one of the selling points of the CCP when it comes to even how Walther advertises these. 3-dot sight here on the Walther, adjustable rear sight, and then that Walther actually comes with 3 different front sights that are different heights that you can pop in and out if you want to. You just gotta take the slide off the gun. The Glock, not so much. Everybody that knows that Glock sights They know that Glock sights kind of are what they are, and you get the U-dot sights. They're polymer. People don't love the Glock sights. I think they're fine. Whatever. Do they let you acquire a target? Yes. Are they the best sights in the world? No. Can you get night sights for a Glock 43? Absolutely. Do you have to spend more money to do that? Yes, you do. But the Walther doesn't come with night sights either, so that kind of is a wash. So, couple of additional points. So, overall length, very similar. On the Walther CCP, you are at 6.41 inches. On the Glock 43, you are at 6.26 inches. So, not a huge difference in terms of length. But again, the length is not where you're going to have trouble concealing a gun. It really is in the length of this grip here. And the Glock definitely has an advantage being considerably shorter. The Glock is 4.25 inches tall, whereas the CCP is 5.12 inches tall. So almost an entire inch difference there. Capacity we already talked about, 6+1, 8+1. You can get extended base plates for the Glock 43 that'll give you 1 or even 2 additional rounds. But now you're going to end up with a grip length that'll probably be similar to the CCP to get it to that same capacity. Barrel on the Glock 43 is 3.39 inches. The barrel on the CCP is 3.54 inches. Totally negligible there. Not going to give you any difference. The Walther CCP with an empty magazine is 22.33 ounces, whereas the Glock 43 is considerably lighter at 17.95 ounces, so just about 18 ounces on the Glock 43, and just about 22 1/3 ounces on the CCP. So is that a big deal? I don't know. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 17. So a 4 1/3 ounce difference in weight. For concealed carry, the Glock is going to be easier to stick on a belt and maybe not weigh you down throughout the day. The width on both of these guns is just over 1 inch. On the CCP, you're 1.18 inches. On the Glock 43, you're 1.02 inches. So very similar in terms of their girth. Kind of hard to see here in the camera. I will do my best. But very similar in the width category. Now, the CCP does have a little bit more width, it appears, in the grip for that texture and that ergonomic, I guess you could call these finger grooves. But whatever that is, those little humpies, the little bumps right here, they do cause the grip to stick out just a little bit more. But I'll tell you, sacrificing that tiny little bit of width for the ergonomics of this gun, I'm going to take that trade-off all day long. So the last thing I wanted to pull in just before we wrap this up, we talked about my opinions of the differences between these two guns and why I prefer the Walther over the Glock 43. But then we also talked about some of the overall differences, some of the stats that make the two of these guns different. Maybe the Glock's a little bit more concealable, but the Walther has higher capacity. Very similar otherwise. The gas-delayed blowback system in the Walther CCP is the reason that you feel less recoil when you shoot this gun. It makes the slide hesitate more so than a lock breech system. And because of that hesitation, the felt recoil when that slide slams back is less than on your standard or traditional locked breech semi-automatic pistol. Now, that being said, there are drawbacks to that because it does make the gun, number one, more difficult to take down. And there are plenty of videos online showing you how to take down a Walther CCP. Is it tricky? Yeah. Does it take a little bit of practice? Absolutely. Is it impossible? No. Do I find myself field stripping guns while I'm at the range? Not usually. Do I find myself detail stripping guns unnecessarily? No. But once you figure out the Walther's takedown system with this funky little plunger design here in the back that requires a tool, it's not that big of a deal. And the purists out there will tell you, you shouldn't need a tool to field strip a gun. Okay, sure. That being said, that gas delay blowback system is pretty neat. It's not new to the CCP. It's been around for a long time. I think HK had a gas delay blowback system on their little, I want to say it was the P7, don't quote me, but it was a gas delay system. And the one other thing that you'll notice from that gas delay blowback system is that the Walther will heat up right around where that piston is. It will heat up if you're rapid firing rounds through this gun at the range. You'll start to notice a temperature increase, especially on this side of the front of the slide. So is that a deal breaker? Absolutely not. Is it something to be aware of? Sure. So one last thing before we go. The most popular single stack 9mm in this country, you've seen it kind of peeking over here. Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 9mm. This is my custom stippled original Shield 9. Do I want an M2? I guess that's what it's called. No, M 2.0. Maybe. Do I love the Smith & Wesson Shield? Yes. This gun is empty. This is the most popular single stack 9 on the market. Why? Probably two reasons. The price and the reliability. I really like the M&P, or I guess the Smith & Wesson trigger safety, the little hinged trigger, even way back on the Sigmas. There's nothing wrong with this. I don't know why people hate it so much. I like it way better than the awful Glock dingus. But hey, that's just me. So, a couple big differences between the M&P and these other two guns. This comes with 2 magazines in the box, one that's flush fit that holds 7 rounds, and one that's a little bit extended, this one right here, that holds 8 rounds, which puts it same capacity as the Walther. And when we line them up, again, I'm sorry guys, I'm new at this. You can see these guns are pretty much identical in grip length when you have that 8-round magazine. So, haha. Is the Walther really that much longer? Not in my opinion. Lock breech design, just like the Glock, takes down a little bit different with a lever, but where the M&P Shield really shines is its price tag. So MSRP on these 3 guns, what are they asking? I guess not even MSRP. These are just the prices that I pulled off of Cabela's website today, just now. Could change tomorrow. I don't know. The Shield, the original Shield, is on sale, so it's kind of not fair, but I'm going to give you that price point anyway. The most expensive gun out here, believe it or not, a lot of people think Walthers are super expensive because they're Walthers. I don't know, maybe because the PPK is overpriced. Personally, I think that Glocks are expensive. Walthers have either come down in price, or I've always just considered the Walther PPK really expensive, and so I just assumed that Walthers in general are very expensive. But the Glock is the most expensive gun out here on the table. Glock 43, $499 at Cabela's. And I am not a big fan of the black nitride finish on the 4th gen Glocks. It seems to not be all that durable. My Glock 42 holster wear almost immediately. The Cerakote finish on the CCP has held up really, really well. I take this gun everywhere, and I'm really impressed. $469 for the Walther CCP, also at Cabela's. Remember, these are just prices from Cabela's website. And then the Shield with the Armonite finish. And the reason I bring up the finishes is because you can get the CCP with a different finish, and the price is a little different. But I don't think you can get the M&P with a different finish. But right now, holy moly, $349 for the M&P Shield 9mm at Cabela's. Thank you, refrigerator. So, $349 on sale. I don't know what that means for next week, but $349 for this pistol. That's a great deal. It won't have this fancy custom stippling job on it, of course, but that is a good price for a really reliable single stack 9mm. So, all in all, what was the point of this video? Well, the point was to more or less show you the Glock 43 and the Walther CCP. But because the M&P Shield is the most popular single stack 9 in the US, I figured I should bring this little guy out too. There are some differences with the Shield. It's got an 8-pound trigger pull. It is under 1 inch thin, which, I'll be honest, I don't really love how thin this gun is. It does make it a little bit uncomfortable here in the front of the strap. The front strap, I don't know, reaching around it like that, that's pretty narrow. Do I hate it? No. Do I carry this gun every day? I know I told you I carry this gun a lot, but I carry this gun more. Sorry, little Walther. So that's pretty much it, guys. All three guns, super reliable, super good value. Could the Glock be a little less expensive, in my opinion, for what you get with the polymer sights and the 6+1 capacity? Yeah, I think it could be less expensive, but people still buy Glocks. They buy them more than pretty much any other gun. Is the M&P Shield the most popular gun in America for concealed carry because of what it does and how magical and amazing it is? Probably not. It's probably the most popular because you get decent sights, you get a good safe design, you get an extended magazine, you get good ergonomics, and you get super reliability in a really inexpensive package. But alas, the Walther CCP, it hasn't been around that long, few years now, but I do believe that out of the three guns on this table, this gun, the Walther CCP, and it doesn't have to be in this OD green that I absolutely love, it also comes in black, and that also comes with a steel slide, stainless steel, brushed stainless steel slide if you like that. This is the best value of the guns here on this table. You get lighter recoil, easier to rack the slide, more capacity, better trigger. Yes, it's hard to take down, whatever, but you get adjustable sights. I don't know. And way better ergonomics. The Walther CCP wins, in my opinion. $469, $499. To me, that's a no-brainer. So if you haven't checked out the Walther CCP, go to your local shooting range or gun store. The gun store should have one. The shooting range might not have one, or at least not yet, so that you can rent it and fire it. But if you get a chance to shoot one, you'll understand why I love it. And out of all three guns on the table, this is the one I am the most accurate with. And I'm not the most accurate shot in the world with these little polymer guns, but for whatever reason, I am dead on with this CCP. Maybe it's the trigger, maybe it's the mitigation of the recoil from that gas delayed blowback system, I don't know, but I am very accurate with this gun, and that makes me happy, and it makes me want to shoot it. So that's all I've got for you today, guys. 3 single stack 9mm. I hope you like it. If you have any comments, thoughts, suggestions, opinions, or ideas for upcoming episodes, shoot me a comment down below. This is a brand new channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and share. I'm completely open to feedback. So if there's something that you didn't like, the video's too long, the video's too short, you don't like my face, whatever you want to tell me, 100% open to your feedback. Just try to be nice. That's it. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Peace.